President of Harvard, Claudine Gay, is out. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the president of Harvard, Claudine Gay, resigning as of right now. I'm recording this video about 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024, and she is out after the shortest tenure of any Harvard president ever. It's been just 6 months. Now, this resignation comes after allegations of anti-Semitism and plagiarism. And I think one thing weighed a lot more than the other. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's jump straight into the news. This is from Harvard's paper, the Harvard Crimson, straight from the proverbial horse's mouth. It says, Harvard President Claudine Gay resigns, shortest tenure in university history. And this is her right there at the now infamous congressional hearing where she was being grilled with other university heads. I'll get to that in a minute. She was being grilled by Elise Stefanik, the GOP House rep from New York. Now, let's get into the article here. Then we're going to get into the plagiarism, the anti-Semitism allegations, and more. Now, Harvard President Claudine Gay will resign Tuesday afternoon, which is right now, bringing an end to the shortest presidency in the university's history, according to a person with knowledge of the decision. It is not clear who will be appointed to serve as interim president. University spokesperson Jonathan L. Swain declined to comment on Gay's decision to step down. Gay's resignation, just 6 months and 2 days into the presidency, comes amid growing allegations of plagiarism and lasting doubts over her ability to respond to anti-Semitism on campus after her disastrous congressional testimony on December the 5th. Well, disaster, that's kind of like editorializing, calling it disastrous. But anyway, Gay, whether scandal after scandal over her brief tenure, facing national backlash for her administration's response to Hamas' October 7th attack and allegations of plagiarism in her scholarly work. And the plagiarism, it was pretty deep because it wasn't just one little thing here and there. This is some stuff. It was a lot of stuff, but it happened back in the 90s, and we're just now talking about it. There's a lot I want to get into. There's a lot to, quote unquote, unpack here, as the cool kids say. But anyway, the corporation, the university's largest governing body or highest governing body, is expected to announce resignation to Harvard affiliates in an email later today. Gay is also expected to make a statement about the decision. The announcement comes 3 weeks after the corporation announced unanimous support for Gay after extensive deliberations following the congressional hearing. Now, remember, the congressional hearing was about the anti-Semitism. That was about that. But amid all that, people were digging into her past and they're saying, hey, you're a plagiarist. So you got two issues going on. And again, one way more than the other. And spoiler alert, it's not the anti-Semitism. Now, let's get into the first allegation. And of course, if you want to see the video in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
The embattled president of Harvard University is keeping her job despite her train wreck testimony at last week's congressional hearing.
Now, remember, this is 2 weeks ago. Okay, this is December the 12th. This is not a very long time ago.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer.
Now, let's go back a little bit. Now, you have other university heads who are sitting right next to her. They were being asked the same question by Elise Stefanik and other members of the House and the GOP specifically. And they all answered the exact same way. But Claudine Gay's in the spotlight because of her being black, and there's allegations of diversity, equity, and inclusion, plus the plagiarism. So there's a lot going on here.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign.
Harvard's governing body said in a statement, in this tumultuous and difficult time, we unanimously stand in support of President Gay. Republican Congresswoman Elise Stefanik slammed the decision today.
This is a moral failure of Harvard's leadership and higher education leadership at the highest levels.
President Biden spoke out about anti-Semitism at colleges at a Hanukkah candle lighting ceremony at the White House last night.
Now, in case you don't know, you see Joe Biden over there, of course, but the guy lighting the menorah is Doug Emhoff, a.k.a. Kamala Harris's husband. And yes, he is part of the team. He's part of them. Shout out to the Jays. Nothing but love.
The surge of anti-Semitism in the United States of America and around the world is sickening. You know, we see it across our communities in schools and colleges and social media.
Disturbing anti-Semitic incidents continue across the globe. This Polish politician grabbed a fire extinguisher and put out menorah candles in the Parliament building. And this Turkish...
You know something? Benjamin Netanyahu's father is from Poland, if I'm not mistaken, but I digress.
Member of Parliament was in the midst of an anti-Semitic rant when this happened. He suffered a heart attack and collapsed to the floor.
And since I was pausing it right when they said what he was, his nationality, he's a Turkish member of Parliament. Some thought that was Erdogan. It's not Erdogan. Erdogan's the, I guess you would say, president of Turkey. This is just a member of Parliament, equivalent to our House reps and senators, things of this nature.
Instant karma goes this headline.
That's pretty gross. But anyway, let's check out the plagiarism allegations, because that's a separate issue. Now, this is from right around this is from December 21st. So just not even 2 weeks ago, 11 days ago. Let's watch this.
Tonight, Harvard President Claudine Gay back in the hot seat over more allegations of plagiarism. First reported by the student newspaper, the Harvard Crimson, the leader will request 3 corrections to her PhD dissertation from 1997, less than a week after the university announced Gay submitted 4 corrections to other articles she'd published.
Now, corrections, what does this mean? Well, they see your dissertation, you see other articles you've published back in, look, the 90s. Look, 1997, you know how long ago that was? This was when Tupac got deleted. Okay, 1997. If you were born in 1997, you'd be what? How old at this point? 26? 27? Right around that time? You'd be right around that age.
Due to a review by Harvard's governing body. In a statement to multiple news outlets, Harvard says the university reviewed more of Gay's academic work and that the president plans to update her dissertation to correct instances of, quote, inadequate citation, stopping short of calling it plagiarism.
Inadequate citation. So the correction is, okay, rather than just saying I wrote it without citing, because when you write in papers, when you're writing these things in school, what do they teach you? You got to cite your sources. So if you took something from somewhere, you got to say, okay, this is where it came from. This particular passage I took from over here. If it's your original words, if it's your original thoughts, there's no need to cite your sources. But the correction would be to say, oh, okay, well, I took this from over here. That's my source now. But really, if you don't cite sources, that's called plagiarism, because you're trying to pass that off as your own work. And these are things that have been out since the 90s, longer than some of you guys watching have even been alive. A lot of you guys might have been little kids when she was allegedly plagiarizing.
Short of calling it plagiarism.
It makes my blood boil. I have never heard of a situation where you're supposed to go back and make corrections.
Dr. Carol Swain, a former political science professor at Vanderbilt University. The original Crimson investigation found 2 passages in Gay's writing similar to hers. She says they were plagiarized by Gay.
Anyone caught in the situation that she's in should immediately be dismissed, or they should resign. And I'm kind of miffed with her, because she's been caught red-handed.
Given that this is appearing to be a repeated offense.
Shout out to Carol Swain. I've met her many times. Really, really, really good person, a genuine person from Virginia. Shout out to Bedford, Virginia, Roanoke out there, way out west.
On her end. Are you concerned, or how does it make you feel that Harvard is calling it inadequate citation?
Well, I think it's elitism. They're going to redefine plagiarism to protect one of their own. Something about their elitism, that they don't believe that they have to meet the same standards as everyone else.
Gay has not responded to NBC News' request for comment, but she previously told the Boston Globe, I stand by the integrity of my scholarship. Throughout my career, I have worked to ensure my scholarship adheres to the highest academic standards. This development prompting a House committee to widen an existing probe of Harvard over anti-Semitism after Gay seemed to dodge a question over whether students calling for the genocide of Jews should be punished.
I have sought to confront hate while preserving free expression.
This is difficult work, and I know that I have not always gotten it right.
That probe will now include an investigation into allegations of plagiarism. The Education and Workforce Committee chairwoman, Representative Virginia Fox, sent a letter to Harvard demanding more information about the unequal application of Harvard's honor code, adding an allegation of plagiarism by a top school official at any university would be reason for concern, but Harvard is not just any university. It styles itself as one of the top educational institutions in the country.
That's correct. That is correct. And the problem is, if you have a person that does, and this is the president now, you can't have this kind of thing happen as the president of Harvard. This is a very prestigious position. We ain't talking about some just random little place. This is Harvard. And, you know, they may have some issues with their education as far as some of the woke stuff, but for you to be the president, you need to have a higher standard for yourself, for sure.
And Mara joins us now from Chicago. So just last week, Harvard was taking steps to clear Gay and move past this. Could these latest allegations and now the expanded House probe change that?
Now, I'll leave it right there. There's more to the video, but basically, this is just from a few days ago before the actual resignation. Today, right now today, Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024, right around 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, she has signal, or people have signaled, that she's going to resign effective immediately because of all this. Now, as I said from the beginning and as I close, there's one thing here that weighs more than the other. And of course, that's the plagiarism, not the anti-Semitism, because again, other presidents of universities are right there next to her, gave the same answers. They could be accused of being anti-Semitic, but they're not really facing resignation or being fired or anything like that. The problem is you plagiarize, not just Carol Swain, but many other people. I'll link to a whole thread of a lot of different people and different papers. It's like she has a pattern of this. And I'm sure if there's more digging done, then more will be found out. So she had to go after only 6 months in office. And I'm going to just add one thing here. This is pretty bad for Black women because now, and Black people, because now if you have a person that rises to a certain level, automatically it's going to be like, okay, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Also, all right, well, can we get into this person's background? Let's really figure out what's going on. There should have been some investigation. There should have been some due diligence done. And people are going to say, well, look, the only reason why there wasn't a thorough investigation into this person before they became the president is because they were eager to make that check mark. The very first Black president of Harvard in its 300 some years of existence. That's the whole thing they wanted. They got it. But now it's embarrassing because she has to resign just 6 months later. Really a complete, big, crazy, bogus mess. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what's going on here? Do you think that she's been forced to resign over the anti-Semitism allegation or over the plagiarism, a combination of both? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is very embarrassing. Harvard looks like they were just trying to find somebody to put in that role as president that happens to be Black, but they didn't do their due diligence in going into the background to figure out who do we have here. They didn't do it, apparently, and now we have this as a result. Really embarrassing, really crazy, really cringe. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.